Hello and welcome to the OLM Issue Triage meeting. Today is Thursday, April 15th. On the agenda today, we're going to look at some outstanding issues from both the OLM and operator registry repository. So let me go ahead and share my screen and take a look at some of the open issues we have, starting with OLM. So it looks like the first issue we have here is subscription configuration causes operator deployment rolling update after initialization. Okay, this issue is opened by Horace. Is he on the call? Okay, so when we set the subscription configuration, the operator deployment will be started in 2 steps. Creates the operator deployment according to spec.install the deployment from the CSV. Catalog operator updates the operator deployment by the subscription configuration. This will cause operator deployment to get rolling updated during the installation. Because the subscription configured is applied after the operator is created. My concern is what if the user creates the operator CR after the operator is initialized, but not been applied the subscription configuration yet. It may cause the operator to reconcile the CR and get unexpected behavior. Okay, so this sounds like a race condition. Based on configured deployment.
I'm trying to get Jamming to join the call. It works with me. So is this a problem when the deployment changes? Because if the deployment didn't change, you shouldn't restart the pods for the manager, right?
Yeah, I think it's a problem. For example, if you provide subscription configuration, so things like environmental variables. Like actually, I was looking at this yesterday. Let me see, just to give
like the downward API and stuff like that.
To give folks some context here on different. There was just a thread the other day on. Let's see if I can. I don't know. It's just. Oh, here we go. Here we go. There's a lot you can do in the subscription configuration with respect to the deployment in the CSV, setting environmental variables, from volume mounting, tolerations, node selectors. There's quite a few configuration knobs on the subscription that affect the deployment. So effectively they let you sort of like dynamically at runtime configure the deployment, because if you were just to override the deployment yourself manually, OLM would reconcile it with what's on the CSV. So your options would be to either manually update the CSV and OLM would respect those changes, or to put in the subscription configuration. So there's this I think definitely. I think we can definitely mark this as a bug. The question is this is this reproducible consistently in some way, or is this more of a description of what could happen? I think this could happen if the the reconciliation process is slow, or so like so there's some eventuality to what's going on in the cluster. This could happen, but I kind of feel like what we want to do is we want to see if this is reproducible in any way, and then for now keep it sort of in our backlog, and then if we can reproduce it consistently, we can bring it into another milestone that's closer. While I'm on that topic,
hey Jamie, you just joined. This is yours. You cool with what Dan's talking about here?
Yes, yes. I believe this issue cannot be reproducible at every time. Like it appears sometimes, but yeah, I can make some more investigation and try to reproduce and test it in my environment, so I can append more my font into this issue.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's exactly what I would recommend. And I would say for now we will, because yeah, it sounds like one of those issues that it's hard to reproduce, but if it is consistently reproducible, then we should definitely check it. So for now, we're going to add it to the backlog, and then we can change that. And on the topic of milestones, we're planning to release 0.18.0 just this week. So I took that as an action item, so that should be coming out. Cool. Okay, so moving on to the next one, OLM docs. Okay, so this is by Camilla. So doc is up validation. Okay, these are actually, I think, actually docs that I may have written. Right, so these are docs on validation, and the issue is validate the SDK. Okay, missing SDK info. Okay, so it sounds like there's an open PR. There's an open PR for adding this documentation or for something else. These are optional flags to the validators. Okay, so this is asking for docs. Okay, so I think we can, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is a bug. I would say that, do we have a docs kind? Docs. I would say help wanted. Good first issue. But I think this is appropriate to bring into maybe the, not this immediate milestone, but the sort of the next one. We do want to prioritize our doc work in general. So we can bring that in there. Okay. So moving on here, we have a flake opened by Ben. So test flake, he describes it as a standoff. Big stack trace. Saw this here. This is on CI job. Okay. I mean, I don't think Ben is not on the call. Is it? No. Okay. So he's labeled this as a bug. I think that this goes generally into our sort of test improvements bucket. I don't know if we have any kind of testing label or anything like that. So flake, I think this seems like a flake. Not sure. Again, we can ask to see how consistent. And ask for some more information. And I think we're going to put this in we can put this in the backlog milestone for now. And unless we decide that we want to bring it up. And okay, another flake by Ben, which is right, which I think we should just do the same thing for sync operator group. So this is a unit test flake, I think. Yeah. Okay, so this bug, so this is actually, I think, a little bit more severe because first of all, this is a unit test. We don't really want flakes in our unit tests. The second is that we recently made a change where we added retries to install plan execution, and this change is something that improves the UX for users installing, with install plans, because transient errors will be retried. But it causes some existing sort of timing related like racy things to occur in a more consistent way. So this might be the test that he was referring to when he was developing this, because I was reviewing that. So this, I think we can again mark this as a flake, but I think this has been a flake that's been around for a long time, and we can prioritize this in the 19 release. Does anyone else on OLM have any thoughts on this, or should we can keep triaging? Okay, so let's keep going here. So, okay, here we go. Image pull secrets not available in YAML manifest. Okay, so this. Okay, cluster in a private subnet. Don't have access to internet full images. Image pull secrets to the deployment. The catalog source is not working. Image pull secret. Okay, so catalog source. So the catalog source has a field, but it's called secrets, not image pull secrets. And in general, there's quite a bit of confusion around this around this particular topic, and I think this is definitely somewhere we need some doc work. I was actually helping someone in our upstream Slack the other day about this topic, this exact topic of they're having an issue where they're putting something on the secrets field, and there's a PR that Nick made. I think Nick's on the call, that basically addresses this use case. So I'm going to do just provide this person a link saying the field I think was provided in Nick, do you know if we have any user-facing docs on this that we can provide as well, or is that something that we need to work on separately? I can check, but I don't know if we have anything.
Hey, Dan, I wonder on this one, do you think it would have helped if our catalog source CRD had validation that just basically erred on the fact that they used an incorrect field name?
Yeah, right. I think we have preserve unknown fields set to true in our CRDs schema validation, or in our CRDs, which allows things like this to happen basically, and then it's just sort of it's allowed to exist, but it doesn't work. I think that totally makes sense, because but you're describing for this field or for any field that's not technically on the
I guess spec? I'm saying, yeah, I guess I'm saying if we have a spec for what a catalog source is, A, we should probably not have preserve unknown fields so you could prevent this problem. And then B, we could go even further by saying, an image pull secret has to look like this, or I'm sorry, a secret has to look like this, and a publisher has to look like this, et cetera, et cetera. But I think to solve this problem, the very simplest thing to do would just be remove preserve unknown fields and make sure that all the fields that should be there are described in the validation section.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I wondered why we have that field set that way as well. I know we have it set on the CSV CRD that I wonder if there's a historical reason why though. I don't know if anyone else on the call would know, maybe Nick. It's something around backwards compatibility or when we upgrade from one minor to another, something like that. But I agree. I think that this should be an error when they try to create it, right? Because I think what they're describing is I guess they don't describe whether it's a runtime error or it just doesn't apply, but I imagine that it would actually get onto the cluster and we would create it and then they would get an image pullback off. We should consider as follow-up work to
if image full secret isn't a field on the schema and we set preserve unknown fields to false, I'm pretty sure it'll give you an error on apply.
Yep.
So
Can you
Yeah.
guys hear me now?
Yep. Yeah, we hear.
Sorry, I don't know why you guys couldn't hear me. About the docs, I think there was some question brought up in the upstream Slack before, but we need to update some of the docs around catalog source before we can put in this. So we have no docs around catalog source proper in the doc site yet. So we'll probably need to put in some docs and then update that. At least that was the state last I checked. So we should probably put that also in our backlog.
Yes, yeah, because right, as I said, this issue, there's some confusion around it just because we overloaded the term secrets because there's different types of secrets in this context. So I think so it seems like there's a couple of follow-ups here. So we should consider a follow-up to validate the spec of the catalog source more closely by setting preserve fields false potentially, and so that this catalog would not be allowed to be applied, would not be more. We definitely specific topic. Nick, do you think it's fair to open an issue on the doc site and sort of track it like that, or?
Yeah, that seems fine.
That seems fine. Okay. I'm going to open a OLM repo to track. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Secret field and this is a frequent currently see this one where know if we want to put anything else on this. Obviously it's docs, but okay, I'm just gonna, I'll just open it for now. Okay. So now that we have that, we'll bring that back over here. Okay, so I was actually going to close this issue with a comment, but do you think it's more appropriate? Do you guys think it's more appropriate if we keep it open for now? Because technically, I think this is the solution in this case, but we have some follow-on work here. So I don't know if we want to keep it open or close it with a comment. So if nobody feels strongly, I'll go with my original instinct of closing it with this comment, and allowing the reporter to reopen it if it doesn't work for some reason. That was my original idea.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, so since catalog source is probably going to be one of those APIs that's going to live long, so it's probably going to maintain as part of the Gen 2 APIs, we should probably harden that up during that phase. You know what I mean? So you could take that opportunity to make some changes to it and so forth.
Oh yeah, they're gonna, yeah, they're gonna change. I mean, you mean the internals are definitely gonna change. I mean, Joe can speak to that.
Well, what I'm
But-
saying is like the Gen 2 APIs, we've got a whole new API coming, right? But I think catalog source is one of those APIs that might be actually be reused between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2.
Yep.
Right. So I'm just saying, yeah, maybe at that time we rev the versions up and we add a validating webhook, all that fun stuff to make it a
Okay.
little bit more usable.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yep. Yeah, but I think that's a totally valid point. Yep. Right. To my knowledge, we're keeping that API around. Okay, so I didn't hear any objections, so I'm actually going to just close this one with this comment. And let's continue. I think we have time for one or two more on the OLM side before we go over to the registry side. Okay, trying to use on PPC architecture. So this is, okay, so this is PowerPC architecture. So this is IBM architecture?
Yes. Yep. So IBM supports 3. It's AMD 64, PowerPC 64LE, and ZOS F690. So I think the question is upstream doesn't really have any official support for anything other than AMD 64. I think downstream is where all of that support happens.
This is just a matter of running builds for those other architectures though, right? SDK upstream supports all of these. I think it's just a matter of setting up CI to build the base images for each architecture, if I understand this correctly. Maybe that's something
He's trying to-
OLM doesn't commit to, but
He's just trying to get OLM to install on PowerPC cluster. Looks like he's just trying to run the quick start to get OLM installed.
Right.
It's
So,
not
right,
working.
I think
So
it's
maybe it's
probably
got
a
multi-architecture
problem that-
enabled.
yeah, my guess is the upstream base images or the upstream images probably are not manifest lists. They're probably just AMD 64. Or it is a manifest list and PowerPC is just not one of the architectures that's built.
Right, exactly. So Dan, is what you're saying true? or you just kind of
I hope so. I'm trying to capture what you were saying basically around it does not support out of the box on standards, but can be
I think we're speculating. I think we're speculating that OLM doesn't have fat manifests, and we're speculating that PowerPC is not one of those anyway. And so I think that needs to be investigated to see if OLM is being built for PowerPC and S390X, and if we should be building fat manifests for all that stuff so they could install on any of those three platforms. There's probably some homework to do here.
Yes, I don't know if anyone else on the call can speak to this particular topic. I know I'm more familiar with the registry builds actually.
I think these are things that happen. Are these Quay build configurations that OLM uses, or is this something that happens on the Travis side or the GitHub Actions?
From what I understand, when we cut the release or we build the images in Quay automatically via webhook. So I think it's all coming from Quay.
Yeah,
So-
every single PRU must which trigger the build on the Quay side.
And I don't see anywhere in our code base where we go and you know, deploy for an architecture like PowerPC.
So I think maybe we need a new feature. The feature is to support OLM upstream on platforms other than AMD 64. And probably document the fact that it doesn't run, so people don't try.
Right. I think that is sort of sounding like a feature. I think that's a valid feature. Yeah, is to basically support different types of architectures. That seems like a good upstream feature. Definitely. I think. Okay. So. So let's actually just go ahead and call this a feature. And let's say that we need to investigate more. But it seems like there's no support.
Yeah, he's asking for help on how does he do it himself too, which is a little bit large amount of typing.
Yeah. Well, they would just build the binaries targeting that architecture, and then like, or build the images rather, and yeah, without manually stepping. To support more. Okay, I will definitely say that this is a help wanted, because you know this is sort of a community effort. If you want to use OLM on PowerPC, then that's great. But then you know, we can get help from users on that. That'd be good. Menu stepping through the build process, which deploys images. Some additional context there. Okay, so I'm going to leave this open. I think that this probably should go into the backlog for now. I don't know if we're going to necessarily say that we're going to support this in the near future. But it's something that we can keep tracking, and potentially, depending on how it goes, we can pull it into a future release. Does anyone strongly object to that? Okay, Cool. All right, so I'll just put this in the backlog for now. Okay, I'm gonna sneak in one more before we go on to the registry side. Service account and tokens not deleted. When the operator is installed by owner, service account tokens to get subsequently created for the service account. When the operator is installed, is the service account power expected to be deleted, or is the service account expected to be deleted manually? I could say that if OLM creates the service account, it should, I believe, delete it. But correct me if I'm wrong, do we make any changes around this recently? It should be owner ref by the CSV, which if the CSV is removed, then all the underlying resources should get removed. But let's see the service account. Service account should be deleted, circuit deleted. All intention does not delete service accounts. It's just prior to operator installation. Okay.
I wonder if it's possible that the service account has two owners, and maybe there's another operator that uses it as well.
Yes, and I think what Eric said is true, that if it already existed prior to the installation, we'd be careful not to remove it.
Yeah, a lot of people are misusing these service accounts for their operands as well, right? So their operands might be left behind and assuming ownership of them.
Okay, yep, I see what you're saying. So, okay, so they can still be in use, or potentially the brands are still using.
Could we just ask them to get the owner references for the operator? That'll tell us everything we need to know, right? Sorry, the service account.
The owner refs for the service account in question, that would help us. Right, Nick, that's what you're asking for?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, cool. I'm just gonna leave this as a comment. Right, so this is a bug. I think depending on, I think we can put it in the backlog for now, depending on what the reporter comes back with, maybe we can prioritize it. We can prioritize it higher. It's potentially, it's not even a bug, it's a valid outcome of the logic we have in OLM today. Okay. Okay, cool. So
just a quick process question. So we put in the backlog. I can't remember what we did last time or what we decided. Do we need to assign this to someone so that we're watching? If if this person comes back and gives us the information we need, we're not going to look at this at the next triage. So who's watching this is my question.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. Totally. That's actually just crossed my mind. Is one thing that I didn't do with respect from the last meeting is I didn't assign everyone to different issues. I think you're right then that we should try to have someone kind of own the issue. So we can run back and quickly assign all these issues out to someone. I think we went through about 5 or 7 issues. So with this issue in particular, is there anyone who would like to be assigned to it? I don't, Nick, it seemed like you had a clear idea on how to look at this.
Sure, you can assign me to it.
Cool. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, great. let's just run back real quick. This one. PowerPC, does anybody want to be assigned this one on the call?
You can give that one to me. I know how we do this on the SDK side, so I might be able to help.
Okay. Cool. So that one we'll go to you, Joe. Image pull secret is not available in the YAML manifest. I think either me or Nick could take this. And Nick, are you interested in following up on this one?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, great.
Also, if anyone from the community wants to volunteer, that's also completely acceptable, and we would encourage that.
Yes, we would highly encourage. Yeah, we would highly encourage anybody, not just you know, the core folks. Anyone can be involved in. Okay, these the flags. Those I don't expect anyone, unless someone in our community wants to take this one on. These are assigned these. I don't know. I mean, I guess we can assign them to Ben tentatively. I don't think that it necessarily should be just assigned to him because he reported it, but unless somebody else is interested. I think I'll just assign it to Ben for now, and then we can go from there. I think we can definitely figure out how we want to prioritize it. And this one as well. I'll just put that into this one. Docs. So like this is a good example of an issue that is just doc work that anyone can kind of take on and contribute to. It doesn't have to be necessarily like something like Nick who's kind of pushing the doc effort. If it's a good first issue, Joe, do you think we can leave it unassigned, or we should still sort of assign it out?
I think for good first issue or help wanted, we can leave them unassigned.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll just leave this one as is for now. Maybe someone will come by and pick it up. Okay, configuration causes operator, right? So this is sort of the racy one. I can take a look into this one if no one else feels strongly about it. So I'll just do that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So thanks for reminding me, Joe. Yeah, we should assign everyone as we look at them. So we have about 20 minutes left. So let's take a quick look at what's going on in registry. Okay, OPM as an API. As of today, we can use OPM as a CLI tool. Is there a Go client package for OPM? So I know that we export functions and libraries out of OPM, but I don't know if we have a officially supported like registry SDK type thing. Does anyone else want to speak to it? Yep.
I mean, if we export functions, they're public APIs. And what I mean by that is they can, use any of that stuff. And it has, it should have the same guarantees that you get with any Go API at a specific semver, right? So past v10, we don't make breaking changes inside a major.
Yeah, so I think for the Go API, you probably want some Go docs and some at least support statement around the intent for those things. Then at least some minimal thing in the OLM docs.
Yeah, I know I've looked at that repo because we're actually looking at trying to pull in some of the code in operator registry to use in some of our internal tooling. And I know that the docs explicitly call out the certain packages as being things that were exportable or usable, but it doesn't really. It kind of leaves the other packages that are actually necessary because some of these things are intertwined with each other. It doesn't really call out those other packages as well. So it probably couldn't hurt to actually maybe clarify like everything that's in package, as long as it's global or as long as it's marked as public, it's good to be consumed. Something along those lines.
I think so. I'm somewhat new to OLM, but like in the operator registry repo where OPM is, basically everything in the repo that's exported is also public, right? There's nothing, I think for the very first time we introduced an internal directory like a few weeks ago. So, and it's also a V1, like we have V1 tags on that repo. So if what we're all saying is true, then that means we're all committing to never breaking anything from a Go API standpoint until we release a V2.
I think we already did when we released the V1. And I don't know if we can play special rules and say, oh, we're V1, but you can't use this set of APIs over here. That's just not the way Go packaging works.
I agree, but it's definitely possible for us to go and break one of those APIs.
Yeah, and in that case, we have to go to the next major version if we want to do that.
So do we have something in place that helps us prevent that from happening?
I'm not sure we do.
I have this Go API diff tool. I can't remember if I add it to operator registry. That will do this effectively.
Yeah, we can check it. Like the way Go modules work, it'll just not allow you to resolve the thing if you're depending on an API, right? That gets broken by a new version as well.
Yes. Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is, since we're V1, we should not break anything until V2, period.
I agree.
But I also wonder, like, when we were implementing operator registry and we cut V1, did we actually intend for everything that's public to be public?
I don't know, but I think regardless of the intent, that is the situation we find ourselves in.
Well, so the reason I'm asking is, like, for the purposes of this specific issue, should we say, yes, we have a V1, we didn't really intend for things to be public there, you can use them, but FYI, like, and this is just, me saying stuff, like, we're going to make a bunch of stuff internal and release a V2 so that we can actually have like a set of supported APIs that we actually did intend to be public.
That's fair.
That way we don't. Yeah.
I think most of the stuff in operator registry is not really that great right now. So I think that's a fair thing to do. I don't know if we can make that decision right now without opening it up to like the rest of the contributors. But
yeah, does anybody object with what I have written here as a starting point? I think we're going to leave this issue open, and since it's sort of a support level question, and see what they come back with. Does anybody want to sort of own this one, or kind of I'll put it in the backlog.
So just a quick note, I did actually put it into the chat. This is the actual documentation that's on the main landing page or the main README for the project. And it does kind of call out that the package lib is to be an external interface, and it kind of leaves it a little vague on what the other ones are if they're intended to be consumed or not. So that's what I was trying to refer to. This is the
yeah, I'm not sure if that even was like, since it is Go, right? Anything that's publicly exposed is publicly exposed. Like the intent
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So
Oh,
I don't know
no,
if we
totally-
could
totally
make a
agree.
statement like that in actuality, even if there is one there.
Just pointing it out that this is the place where I found out, I went looking to see is just something that I could actually consume or not. And I saw that things are under package lib were explicitly called out as external interfaces for interacting with the project. But then there's things that leak between these various projects that, so when you try to use stuff that's in lib, it's going on and using other external pieces that are in registry or whatever, right? So it's not a cleaner, it's not a clean cut. Like use everything in lib and you're good to go. But yeah, I don't know. Just want to at least call out that's in the documentation at the moment, and whether or not that needs to be fixed.
Okay, I feel like that's definitely a valid point to bring up. It's just kind of tricky since OPM sort of has different use cases. I don't know if we can get too much further right now, and maybe we should just sort of if we can just keep this one open, and we will iterate it. It seems like there's some folks with strong opinions on this.
Okay. Either myself or Joe should probably just take this and follow up with the other core contributors and just figure out let's fix up some of the documentation to match our actual support statement for our APIs.
Easier for users to import OPM related code.
You can put me on here as the assignee.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to leave the comment as that, I think, and then I will assign you next. Okay, and we can move on to the next one. Wait, where's this? Okay, foreign key constraint failed. Index add. Okay, were we discussing this in the operator channel?
Yes, we were discussing with me because I'm here.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. Did we get any kind of resolution in that Slack thread? I'm not sure.
So I mean, what we did with the operator, so the owner of the operator, so he just deleted few versions, old versions, and until he get a message without error. So this is the solution, and I have no idea why it is happening and what's wrong. From the message, I cannot guess. And we still have these bundles, but not exactly for that command. Because this is the stream for the Kubernetes, but we have also for the OpenShift part, the same bundles, the same error. So we can reproduce it if we need it. And yes, I can provide another command which you can reproduce it. But I have no idea what happened, but what to do in these cases, I don't know. But basically it was built from scratch. And yes, we can reproduce it even from scratch whenever we are building it on the local registry. But it's quite strange because 1 month ago, just before the last version, it was produced and without problem. So I have no idea what happened with last one.
And this is right. This isn't related to this community. So this, foreign key constraint failed. So this clearly is, a database level problem. It says permissive mode disabled. I wonder if with permissive mode enabled,
no, this is always like that. This has nothing to do. We want to see the error. So that's
okay.
We are putting the command test without that mode. So we see the error.
Okay. Does anybody on the registry side, maybe Vu or someone else on the call, want to speak a little bit more?
Yes, I can take a look into this.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I think I will just go ahead and assign you to this one. We will call this.
Okay, so what I will provide the next command which you can reproduce, because with this one you cannot now, but I will provide you another one. So with different
Yeah,
bundles.
can
Okay.
you comment on the
Yes,
issue?
yes, I will. I mean, yes, when I will finish this meeting, I will provide you another command. But basically, we can reproduce it.
Okay. It sounds like this might be something that we do want to address one way or another in the next release, since it seems like it's a bug that's affecting folks in the community operators project. So I think I'll put it in our next release if that sounds all right, or we can put it to the one in the near future maybe.
So just FYI, I have run into bugs like this before when you're trying to re-add the same bundle name, or if you've got some kind of mistake in your CSV and you're using a version ID in the wrong spot. There's all sorts of little schema things that can get you.
Yeah.
Here, so I agree with you. Yeah, it needs to be investigated.
Okay, so let's put this into the to the sort of soon release. I think Vu definitely knows his way around this this code, so he can diagnose it. And follow up. Diagnose. Yeah, and so this, this is the this type of error you can expect to see when you have a relational database underlying your CLI. So going here, we will say text case assumptions. This looks like it'll be our last issue for today, just based on time. Currently, the test case launch bundle and test EDE bundle image test assumes that OPM executable using the test is compiled for Linux. That's probably true, yes. If you run this in a Darwin environment, the cube job will not succeed unless you manually cross-compile it for Linux and store it at bin OPM. Yeah, I think it's fairly straightforward. The problem here, was this addressed by this PR, or is this something that's so I think John, you're on the call. John, would you say that this issue was addressed by this PR or no? Doesn't look like it.
Oh, yeah. So, but is this is 605? So that just got merged. So I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah, no problem.
What was the question? So yeah, we just merged that one. So
you opened this issue around the launch bundle in test EDE bundle image.
Oh, yes, yeah, that was this is a related, rather than trying to fix it in that PR. Yep. This was about trying to, that issue is there to try to address the issue that there's at least one test case that I know of that will break if you're running it. Say, for example, like you're running it on my Mac and the development system, it will because the executable is different. It won't work properly because it's assuming that it needs to be, basically the test assumes that it needs to actually run in a Linux environment. And so that work needs to be, that needs to get sorted out on how to get that built in a way that allows that test to work properly. I don't know. I think I left that as a doc item that says, known issues. So I can go dig that out if we need to add it to this, which specific test case that was actually failing. I can add it to this.
Okay.
Just for a reproducibility standpoint.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. So, John, do you think you'd be interested in assigning this issue to yourself and kind of looking into it? I think we probably are going to put it in the in the backlog in terms of priority.
Yeah, if you want to assign it to me, I can certainly try to take a look at it.
Yeah, there's no pressure on a date or anything, because I think we're going to put it in the backlog. I mean, you know, it affects certain users, like it affects me as well. But I was doing everything on the GitHub Actions, so luckily it didn't impact me. Although, yeah, obviously we don't want to have this. We don't want to have OS specific, requirements on end-to-end tests that just use the binary. So that would be great. Okay, and with that, I think, thanks, John. I think with that, we're basically out of time here. I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's session. I think it was really productive. We got through a number of issues. And I will see everyone at the working group meeting next week. Bye, everyone.